Thank you for joining us for this short healing session and introduction to the principle of shortening the muscles in order to lengthen. That's right. It's one of those alchemical transformations. The paradoxical principle that if you want to achieve something, sometimes you don't have to push in the direction where you want to go. You actually go back first. It's almost like shooting an arrow out of a bow. You're pulling the arrow back in order to shoot it forward. So what we'll do today is we explore this, and I wanted to introduce to you my student and friend Stefan the other day, and I want to thank you, Stefan, for joining me today.
Thank you, Lama. My name is Stefan, and I have had a consistent struggle with my health, my weight, and my self-esteem. As you probably heard in my story that was told in the email the other day, I used to weigh a rather hefty 300 pounds, and I was overweight for most of my adult life and all of my childhood. And this brought with it significant physical challenges, not the least of which was incredibly sore knees and a sore back that bothered me almost all the time. Thanks to Lama and his Qidao, I have learned to overcome a lot of the challenges that I was facing, but I'm not completely out of the woods. For example, from time to time, I still experience back pain, such as when I pulled my back just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and you actually managed to resolve that challenge quite elegantly in a relatively short amount of time. Again, using the principles that we're sharing with you, we are not just talking the talk, we're actually walking the talk. So today we're going to look at how you two can learn to resolve the challenges that life throws your way, sometimes in the form of pain. Pain can be perceived not as a problem. Pain can be perceived as an important physiological feedback mechanism. Your body telling you that you need to pay attention to a particular part that is compromised, weak, or overly tense. As a matter of fact, tension is usually the reason why the back hurts, unless you had a car accident or get a whiplash. And this is exactly what we can do to help the back. We can release the tension in the back muscles. And in order to do that, many people think, I need to stretch. Which is a terrible idea. Because when you stretch, you create a stretch reflex. You literally add insult to injury.
In fact, that's how I pulled my back, was actually by stretching it when I was leaning forward in a way that I don't usually strain my back.
So what we do is we learn how to take any of these challenges and turn it into a learning opportunity. What can you learn from having a problem like that? Well, first of all, you don't do this again. But secondly, you also learn how to improve the quality of your life by developing a method for overcoming this challenge. The method we're talking about is brilliant and totally counterintuitive. Instead of stretching the muscle of the back, for example, that is tense and sore, you actually work with the body. Rather than trying to harass the body into becoming longer, you actually shorten that part of the body. The muscle, when it's tense, it's trying to literally bring the two ends of the muscle closer together. Right? That's what tense muscles are trying to do. It's like the muscle has a dream, and you actually allow the muscle to manifest this dream instead of trying to force it in the opposite direction. Have you ever tried stretching the muscle? You know, it's like stretching a rubber band. You stretch it and it shortens. You stretch it and it shortens. That's what we call stretch reflex. You literally agitate the nerve endings inside of the muscle. They send the signal of alarm to the central nervous system. When it's subjected to stretching, it can get torn or damaged. So the central nervous system sends the signals to this muscle, contract, so that it doesn't get ripped. And what happens? you end up with more tension. The tense muscles are the muscles that are receiving signals to contract. Muscles are not stupid, your body is not trying to hurt you. You actually do this to yourself, unconsciously. And what we learn to do is to stop doing that and actually start doing something opposite of what most people do. Instead of stretching, we learn how to shorten the muscle first. When you bring the two ends of the muscle closer together, for example, in the case of a back, you can literally shorten your back muscles like this, bending backwards. Or what you did was using the exercise ball. You can literally drape yourself over it. So what happens? You shorten those muscles of the back. You allow them to manifest the dream of becoming shorter. So they stop sending any signals of alarm to the central nervous system. When the central nervous system no longer receives the signals of alarm from the muscles, we'll stop sending signals to contract those muscles. And without the signals of contraction, the muscles start relaxing. And when they relax, what do? They start getting longer. You naturally allow them to lengthen after you experience the release of tension. Often the release of tension goes hand in hand with a change in the tension throughout the rest of the body, including the breathing muscle, the diaphragm, which changes the breathing pattern, making the breathing a lot deeper and smoother. You often experience the sigh of relief or start yawning when you become more relaxed. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for that sign that you are actually relaxing. And so when you experience that, then you can slowly start changing the position of your spine. Instead of extension that you're experiencing at the moment, you may go into a more neutral position and eventually even experiment with lengthening those muscles. That's right. We're not stretching them, we're just allowing the muscles to lengthen. And as you allow them to lengthen, you slowly go to the edge of your comfort zone. Now, if you push yourself over the edge, that's what we call stretching. By definition, stretching is pulling your muscles or pushing yourself over the edge of the comfort zone. If you do that, you are virtually guaranteed to engender a stretch reflex, which is the opposite of what we want.
Much better.
It's amazing how effective this practice can be. And when we do this, we first shorten the muscles of the back, including your neck. By the way, the cervical spine, or the spine of the neck, is part of the whole spine. The muscles along the back are some of the longest muscles in the body. They go all the way from the occipital ridge of the skull, along the spine, and attached to the sacrum. This is a really long muscle group that consists of a number of different subsections. But what's important is that if there is tension in the lower back, there's often tension throughout the entire length of the muscle, because it's the one and the same muscle. So it's important to include the neck in the same action. If you're bending backwards, which is what we call extension of the spine, include neck in your extension. And allow some time to pass. Literally a minute, sometimes a minute and a half. If necessary, maybe even more than that. 2 minutes or more. And only when you're ready to release the tension, you will experience the change in the breathing pattern, a sigh of relief, and as you're changing the alignment or position of the spine, becoming upright again, don't stretch. Just explore what it's like to go along the edge of your comfort zone. You can go side to side, turn a little bit. Experiment with being on the edge of your comfort zone. If you go beyond the edge, by definition you will start stretching. Even if you go forward, I encourage you to go really slowly so that you are very mindful of the edges of the comfort zone. You know, mindfulness is a big buzzword nowadays. We're not just talking the talk, we are embodying the principle of mindfulness. We're learning how to really walk the talk. In this case, we're just simply exploring what it's like to get to the edge of the comfort zone and move along the edge. When you do that, you are virtually guaranteed to experience lengthening without stretching. And by lengthening, I mean your muscles actually become longer. But they become longer only to the edge of the comfort zone, which means you don't trigger the stretch reflex again. You'll discover for yourself how effective this principle is when you test it. And that's exactly what I would like you to do. Even if you don't have a back pain, use this as a preventative tool. Nobody ever complains that they're too flexible. So you can certainly improve flexibility of your own back muscles and other muscles of the posterior chain, which are essentially the muscles along the back of your body, which include also gluteus muscles, the buttocks, the hamstrings, the calves, all of those muscles along the back of your legs, and also back muscle all the way along the spine. How do you increase the flexibility of the posterior chain? You simply shorten it. That's exactly what I would like you to do. Drape yourself over either a ball, like this exercise ball. If you don't have anything like this, you can do it over a back of an armchair, or just simply use your own arms. Once again, placing the arms on the lower back, and then leaning backwards. It's better to lean over an object just because it will provide you support. So you don't have to hold tension anywhere in your body. You literally relax around that ball or around the back of the armchair. Make sure that the armchair is stable so you don't fall over and hurt yourself. Also, another thing that we want to make sure of is that you are very mindful when you start lengthening those muscles. Please go very slowly and experiment what it's like to be on the edge of the comfort zone without pushing yourself over. A lot of people try to reach some desired result, whether it's a dream that they have about a particular goal or a certain degree of flexibility that they want to achieve, and often they just throw themselves over the edge, so to speak, or take a great leap and end up landing somewhere outside of their comfort zone where it hurts. And they literally hurt themselves, and then they retreat back to the center of the comfort zone to recharge, recuperate, regroup, and then they charge again, and then they throw themselves over the edge of the comfort zone, and then they get hurt, and then they retreat again to recharge and recuperate, regroup, and do it again. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, that's insanity. So what we're learning is how to do the same thing. We actually learn how to work with the body rather than trying to fight against it. And we do this so that when you get to the edge of the comfort zone, you change the direction of your movement. You literally start moving along the edge rather than across the edge, which means you need to change the direction at about 90 degrees angle. That also means that your movements are going to be much smoother, and as you explore the edge of the comfort zone, something amazing happens. The more time you spend on the edge of your comfort zone, the more you get used to being there. And by doing so, you expand your comfort zone. So organically and naturally, your comfort zone gets larger and larger, eventually encompassing that place or that degree of flexibility that used to be outside of its reach. You literally learn how to manifest what you aspire to manifest without causing yourself discomfort and pain. Now this, my friend, is my gift for you today, and we will continue exploring this intelligent and very counterintuitive methodology that I present to you in our next video as well. Until then, have a wonderful time. Namaste.
Namaste.